This is my version of the American dream. What's yours? There's just no way to describe how rewarding it is to get out on your own property, make use of your own resources, and build a good life for your family. Get outside and enjoy God's creation, because it's beautiful out here. That job made me cry. Oh, it was horrendous. Just a horrendous job. And my first real break in life came when I got hired by the U.S. Postal Service to deliver mail. So finally, 5 years ago, 20 years into building our life together, Jana and I bought our 38 acres. Well, hey there, hobby homesteaders. Welcome back to Peak's Peak. My name's Lucas. We're sharing our hobbies here on 38 acres in eastern Kentucky, and today we're going to talk about how the American dream is still alive and well, and how we're living it here on Peak's Peak. And we're going to mill up a big log while we do it. So guys, while it's a little brisk out here, the sun is shining, and I've been cooped up for, well, at least a couple of weeks because we've been buried in snow, and I gotta get out and mill a log. I can't start building on my building yet. The ground's still frozen. Yeah, so I'm not gonna get into that, but I can make lumber that will get me a little bit closer to being ready for that project. Yeah, I kind of wanted to share a little bit of our family story with you, especially for those who are kind of newer to the channel, and just kind of also talk about how thankful I am for the life that I have and the things that I get to do here on Peak's Peak. I grew up out in the country in Indiana, deer hunting, mushroom hunting, fishing, you know, those were my things. And we had some property and we were able to get out and play growing up as kids. And that was just a life that I absolutely loved living. But 25 years ago, I married my wife Jana, and we moved to eastern Kentucky, where I came here broke, with no college degree, no job, no money, no credit, and we started our life together. And I'll tell you what, even though we were broke, we had some of the best times of our lives while we were broke. Because we were starting a family together. But we had our struggles. You know, I came here and just with the attitude that, well, I'll figure something out and I'll work hard and we'll get where we want to be eventually. But I was also more or less giving up my access to land and the outdoor life and all of those things because, well, you know, the farm was back in Indiana and I didn't have that here. And I tried jobs like selling cars, and I worked for a debt collection company answering phone calls for about a week, and That job made me cry. Oh, it was horrendous. Just a horrendous job. I think should be able to just roll it off on it. That's one way to do it. And my first real break in life came when I got hired by the U.S. Postal Service to deliver mail. And I loved the job of mail delivery. Loved it. And I was and am proud to work for the post office. But that's definitely not to say that it's not without its trials, because it's a tough place to work. And I'm not going to tell my whole life story, but I will say that really from the moment that I moved here, my dream was to own my own piece of land and be able to kind of get back to that kind of outdoor life that I enjoyed growing up. It wasn't really until Cameron reached the age of about 14 or 15 that I felt like it might be a possibility. And it just so happened that a YouTuber by the name of Kendall Gray was kind of just starting to reach that age group and teach about trapping and all those things. And Cameron was just obsessed with that. Fishing with Flair and the Guggen Squad. He followed all those guys. And they were kind of, as they were transitioning out of their fishing content, they were getting property and doing things that Cameron was interested in. And so he started kind of begging me for property, saying, man, we really need to get some land. I always kind of kept my eye out for properties that I might be able to afford. And one day, this 38 acres in eastern Kentucky showed up on the market. The house was the biggest hurdle because I had to convince my wife that it could be made livable. Should turn my laser on for that cut. I messed it up. Didn't go deep enough. Let's try her again. Well, I had it on, I guess. Still didn't go deep enough. That'd probably work right there. Speaking of dreams, this is a brand new Ripper 37 blade on here from Jerry's Resharp. And that's about the best cut I've seen. Now, they sent me some brand new 7-degree Timberdog Platinums that I'm going to try next. I'm really excited to try those, but that Ripper 37 is awesome. So thanks to the guys at Jerry's Resharp for taking care of us on that. Let's get this thing turned up on its edge. We'll go on with the story. So finally, 5 years ago, 20 years into building our life together, Jana and I bought our 38 acres. And we were only able to do that still because we were willing to buy a house that had not been lived in for 2.5 years, needed completely gutted and totally renovated. And so that's what we did. We bought our dream property and started our dream here on Peak's Peak. When we bought our property, we wanted to have animals and do things, you know, that everybody was doing back in 2019, 2020 when COVID hit and they were worried about taking care of their families, and that was raise our own food and do all of those things with our property. And we jumped in with both feet. We watched a lot of YouTube videos to try to learn, and in the meantime, we became really big fans of channels like Arms Family Homestead and Cog Hill Farm and those guys that were doing what we wanted to be doing with our life. And Caden, who at the time was only 5 years old.
My name's Caden Peak.
Wanted to start a YouTube channel. He was like, why don't we do that? And so in December of 2020, we launched our YouTube channel. And I didn't launch that channel to make money or get sponsors or products or anything like that. I launched the channel because I had friends and family back home that I wanted to share our process with and show them the things that we were doing that I was proud of, because it's kind of the way I grew up a little bit. But in the process of doing all that, I learned that people were making money and making a living with YouTube. And for the last 4 years, I've continued to say, I'll never make a living with YouTube. We'll probably never get a silver play button, and you know, we may not grow much more. All those kinds of excuses along the way, because I just didn't see myself as a creator or influencer or whatever you want to call it. But things have picked up. Things have taken off. And while I still have a career, and this is not my full-time job, it has really opened up opportunities for us that I just never dreamed would have existed. You see the equipment that I have, I didn't have the money for any of that stuff before YouTube. I could have only dreamed of having a sawmill and a tractor and all of those things. It just, you know, that's not where I was in life. But YouTube has helped us to reach that point. And while I'm in no way getting rich on YouTube, having the stability of a career and the side gig of YouTube, it has opened up several opportunities, including allowing my wife and daughter to chase their dream of owning a coffee shop. So a little over a year, about a year and a half ago, we took the leap and we rented a location and we built out everything they needed to open up their dream coffee shop. And 6 months into it, my wife was able to walk away from her career as a school counselor to work full-time for the coffee shop. So she and my daughter get to work together every day, living their dream. And all of that is tied to, one, us working hard to establish ourselves, and two, us working hard at YouTube and it growing and you guys supporting us so that those things could happen. So already we've reached a point where you guys have helped our dreams come true. And so there's a big thank you in this for that. I really appreciate it. I never saw this coming, and it's not like we're anything big or anything like that, but it has changed our lives and our directions and allowed dreams to come true that we never thought possible. Oh, goodness gracious. That's a heavy one. There'll be some good firewood in that. This one may end up going back on the mill later. Oh, that's a heavy one. While I say YouTube has allowed those things to happen, I definitely don't want to take anything away from the fact that Chloe and Jana have busted their tails and still do. The shop depends completely on the support of the community. And, you know, 1 or 2 days of snowstorm and no revenue coming in hurts, and it makes it tough to pay the bills. So it's not just, wow, we own a coffee shop and everything's great and we're going to get rich, because we're definitely not going to get rich running a coffee shop. But it is a viable business that can support Chloe and Jana being able to work together and enjoy the career that they have. That's worth so much, but it's definitely not a freebie. They're earning it. And then we kind of move on down the line to the fact that, one, this is a family affair, and we now have 3 families living on Peaks Peak, because my son Cameron married his wife Amber, and they live here on Peaks Peak and expecting a baby soon. That's exciting. I'm going to be a grandpa. But then my daughter Chloe married Isaac, and Isaac moved up here from Tennessee, and they live on Peaks Peak. And we just found out that they're also expecting. So I'm going to be a grandpa 2 times. Life is grand. That's heavy. Wow. That is heavy. All right, let's flip this thing over and we'll get to the next step of this story. And that brings me to the part of this story that is relevant to today's video, and that is that my son Cameron has now graduated from college with a degree in information systems, and his part of our dream is the fact that his first assignment getting out of college has been to build and launch a website for Peak Hobby Homestead. We would like to start offering hats and shirts and maybe even Farmer's Daughter coffee and things like that on our website. So I've been busy designing, and I'll share with you. Of course, you know, my favorite thing to say is get outside and enjoy God's creation, because it's beautiful out here. So the first shirts that I've designed are around that saying, to get outside and enjoy God's creation. And so we have this for Peak Hobby Homestead with 2 different colors. Then we also have a similar design for our Peak Outdoors channel that has a campfire that says the same phrase. So we have those, as well as logo shirts and logo hats available on that website. Now, you can go to peakshobbyhomestead.com, or to make it a little simpler, if you go to peaks-peak.com, it will take you to the same place where you can see those items. Now listen, I know that that's not for everybody, and I'm not doing this for charity. I don't want anybody to buy anything they don't want. But if you share the same sentiment as I do, that you're thankful for God's creation and the beauty that's all around us, that's what I'm wanting to promote with this, as well as, and the reason I told you the whole story of us living our dream is bringing in revenue from selling merchandise will also help us to further our dream. And I want to be completely open and transparent about that. Obviously, this is another avenue for us to make money. But this is something that, honestly, I am thankful to you guys for helping us live the American dream. And this is what it's all about. We've worked hard and we grind, and in many ways we earn the things that we have. But God has blessed us with amazing opportunities. God has blessed us to live in a country with the freedoms to do the things that we do. And He's blessed us with some great viewers that support us in all of these things that we're doing. And we're thankful for that. Give Him the glory for that. Man, it feels good to get out on your own land and do some work. This poplar right here came off of this property. We did our road build, and they were able to save these poplar logs for me. They saved the trees and I cut them into logs. And so that's where this lumber came from. And we're gonna use it to build our equipment shed over here. It's just, there's just no way to describe how rewarding it is to get out on your own property, make use of your own resources, and build a good life for your family. It's just wonderful. So we got 10 more 12-foot 2x6s for our equipment shed. I gotta go stack them on the lumber pile over there. We got a nice stack of lumber that seems to be holding up in the weather. I've got a piece of metal over the top of it, but it seems to be drying out well and not warping and all that. Now, you know, these are not all perfect boards. Some of them are a little bit warped, but they're going to be plenty good enough for the equipment shed that we are building. And I probably am going to save the majority of the rest of the poplar logs for siding. I think I have enough poplar now that really I can probably mill all of the siding out of the logs that I have. But I really didn't have a staging area for siding yet because I'm not that far along in the building process. So I think I'll wait on those until I get the building up and use up these 2x6s that I've got. And that way I'll have somewhere to stack. This is just what it's all about. We are living the dream on our property, and we are thankful to you guys for following our channel, watching our content, being involved in the things that we do, and helping us to fund those things. Don't forget, if you want to show your love for God's creation, get outside and enjoy God's creation, you can pick up those shirts at peaks-peak.com. And until next time, as always, get outside and enjoy God's creation because it is beautiful out here. And y'all have a good day.